Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust, episode 602, isn't it? I have 601 down in my notes, and you know how truthful and abiding by the rule of my notes I am, but I think that's wrong because I think we just had episode 601. So this, by the nature of mathematics and science, must be episode 602 for your Saturday. I'll keep the dirt, actually. For your Saturday, August 20th, 2016. Whoops, as we continue west, I almost started going south. No, we're going west. That way's east. This way's west. As long as the compass is pointing behind us, that means we're heading in the right direction. West to those far lands here in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. And we are still raising money for Child's Play charity at farlandsorbust.com. $39,271.39 raised this season, season 6 of the series, which started just a little bit over a year ago. So in a year we raised $39,271, 65% of the way to our $60,000 goal. $60,000 for season 6. If you keep going to farlandsorbust.com, go to the homepage, see where we're at, click on donate, and then in that donate process, you can leave a comment. And in that comment, you can leave a question. What is going on? Oh, those are squids. I had no idea what I was seeing there. You can leave a question, and I will add that question to the almighty notepad of notesitude that I have open on my other monitor here every time I record Farlands or Bust, and sometimes it tells me the wrong things. And I'll add that, and I'll answer one of those questions in a future episode. As a little bit of an inspiration, if helping get toys, books, and games to kids in hospitals around the world isn't enough motivation, there's just a little bit of more sprinkles on the cupcake there for you to get a little bit more encouragement with the donations. And of course, with the donations, when we do raise that $60,000, I will press F3. And only then will I press F3 to see how far we have walked this past year, at least this past year, since the last time we did so, after raising $50,000 in Season 5. Was that it? Yeah, that was it. That was the goal last time, right? So yeah, much appreciated for all the donations so far. Much appreciated for the continued support, continuing to get that number up. The little mini goal that I have of reaching $40,000 and then playing Crack Pack is still in play, although the time has come and gone for the much of the activity on the Crack Pack modded server, but the offer still stands. So we'll have to see where it's at when we do get there to $40,000. Maybe I'll also wrap in a little morsel of I'll also play No Man's Sky or something I've been putting off. And people have been asking quite a bit about. Maybe I'll do that too. I don't know. That's a little bit less formal than the original offer. The original offer stands. So yeah, keep on doing that. farlandsorbust.com. I wanted to I mentioned No Man's Sky a little bit in the last episode, and I have been watching other people play it on stream. I've been watching some of Vintage Beef's videos, so the general startup storyline and pretty much the gameplay itself has been spoiled for me, and I'm not like turned away. I was turned away, I suppose, on day one when there were so many technical issues, frame rate issues, options not responding issues, and just not. I don't have an SLI machine, but apparently you can't play it with SLI. Your typical bad console to PC ports problems. Typical, but not necessarily acceptable. But yeah, I've not been turned off by the gameplay. Like I said, I feel like when I do end up playing, I'll treat it as if I'm, playing a walking sim or even, something like Eidolon, along those lines. The one thing I have noticed, and maybe I'll discuss when I eventually do start playing, I figure when I do play, it'll be stream. It seems like a good streaming game. That seems to be the consensus. Some folks are trying the YouTube stuff, but I feel like that would require too much editing to break out the boring bits. Of course, I did no editing in my Eidolon series, and that entire game is boring bits mostly. Boring, but exciting and interesting. The one thing I have noticed as far as the way the game is presented, I don't know that I've heard many people mention this, so perhaps I'm the only one with a slight aversion to the narrative. Is in first person. Basically, there's no voice acting, there's no vocal interaction between you and the aliens, or your interactions with the world. You basically get pop-ups with text, and they're all written in the first person, as in they say, I feel the alien does this, the alien grabs my gun, as opposed to the alien grabs your gun, or whatever. I don't know what that is, but it seems a little bit uncomfortable to me. It seems like it might be kind of calling back to the early kind of RPG days, even almost like text adventure RPGs. And it's, but to me it's uncomfortable. It's a little bit awkward. And it's also, to me, not effective storytelling, if I can say so, as in as many words. It's basically taking away your reactions and filling them in with pre-scripted reactions and feelings. And maybe I feel like that might have, certainly not everything to do, but that might have something to do with why people aren't finding themselves particularly emotionally interested in the game. And I think it could really hurt the longevity of the game. I don't know if that's not the one reason, obviously, but just for me, it just feels awkward. Instead of... See, here's my thoughts about stories, movies, books, you know, TV shows, whatever, music even. My personal opinion is that it is much better to show your audience... Ooh, was that visible? Or that's not visible. All right, just some slightly beneath the surface there is a zombie spawner, but we can't see it, so we won't explore it. My basic thoughts on the matter is that the writer, the artist, the director, whoever, should show you what's happening, should show you the scenario, should show you the emotions or whatever, instead of telling you. You know, showing is much more, I suppose, profound than telling directly, and it really does... I feel like it puts up a screen, like, oh, I'm not the one having these experiences because there's this text here that's saying, I feel the warm thingy glowy ball thing in the monolith or whatever, or it grabs my hand, or I feel terrified. I don't want to be told how to feel. I want to have those feelings myself. And it's probably and possibly a lot to do with the technical limitations of No Man's Sky. They either didn't have time nor the resources to make cutscenes that show you what's happening, that show the interactions between these aliens. So instead, they just have blocks of text while you're staring at an alien that just is standing there stationary, and they're telling you that he grabs your gun, or they're telling you that he slobbers on your helmet, but they can't actually have made those into cutscenes or actual action scenes. But then I do think about a game like Eidolon, where you don't even really exist in that game. For the longest time, and continually, I don't have any semblance of who I am in the world of Eidolon. At first, I thought I was a robot because I was carrying around this iPad with little life meters and things. But then I didn't think so because I broke my bones, and I had to, slather honey on them to make them not infected. I feel like, and that was also in reading the dev notes of Eidolon, the dev journal of Eidolon, that was a conscious choice. At once, they did have like a character model that existed, but they decided to take that out because they felt it would just be better for you to exist in the world as this, you know, this life form or whatever without any sort of purpose or history or presence. And I believe that, and maybe this is all down to preference or whatever, I believe that really then allows you as the player to experience it as yourself, as opposed to having dialogue or text or whatever tell you who you are, tell you how you're experiencing this. Really, I think is a very stark stark contrast and stark kind of I don't know. It's certainly. I'm going to try when I do play it. I'm going to try my best to look over that and maybe, I don't know, maybe even ignore it for the sake of maintaining my immersion. That's the thing. It really breaks the immersion because you're not immersed into it. This person you're playing, who's having these experiences and is telling you about his experiences and emotions, is the one who's immersed in it, and you're just a third party at the controls. But anyway, enough about that. We're walking to the far lands, and right now we're going to sleep. And first personsness. What was that Seinfeld episode where Jimmy's getting angry? He talks in the first person. Oh, that's what it makes me feel like. Maybe that's the way I can make kind of fun of it. Is I'll make fun of the person who refers to himself in the first person. Oh man. But anyway, we continue on here. We continue on. Ooh, I wonder. Do I have a boat? I've got a few boats. Let's take a little sail through that archway there, even though I think it kind of ends at a dead end, as opposed to going around that way, which would actually get us somewhere. It's not about the destination, my friends. It's about boating underneath natural bridges. And I'm actually Jeff Bridges? No, I'm actually looking forward to going this way more because there's this very crazy mountain over here. Oop, this is getting narrow. It's getting narrow, and Wolfie's going to spawn right there, I betcha. Oh, there he is. Hi, how you doing? Oh, I'm stuck. I've been wedged. Ooh, what's going on in there? Oh, well, not my boat, that's for sure. Oh, just another little underground lake. Speaking earlier of those questions that donors can ask, got a very, very generous donation. Put us over the top of the $39,000 mark. Our good friend Doc Gratis, who also did similar things with the first Child's Play charity fundraiser, and even further, I think last season, very generous donation from Doc Gratis to get us to our goal, or closer to our goal, or one of the mini goals. I'm not remembering clearly. Clearly, my brain's capacity does not include such things as these. Ooh. I didn't notice that birch tree up there. But yeah, Doc Gratis, a very generous donation. Says, Lizzie Busybee and M-Star, are starting, careful there, Wolfie, are starting school soon. M-Star has specifically told me, a specific message from M-Star. Tell Kurt, I am in kindergarten, a kindergartner Farlander. That's a lot of ers at the end of those words. I am in kindergarten. Do you have any funny stories to share from elementary school? I was trying to think of this, and I have a particularly unfortunate, like I said, the brain power stuff. not a very good long-term memory about a lot of things, and I get things confused a lot as to when they happened in the timeline of events. Funny stories from elementary school. Well, I don't know if they're funny stories. We did have an engineering day. Somebody came from somewhere, some job, maybe like GE or Shell or something. There's a headquarters around Chicago where somebody came in to talk about engineering jobs and what you want to be when you grow up. And we were given the task of creating with a single square. Can you spare a square? A single square of aluminum foil. I don't know, it was probably 5 inches squared. Make a boat that can carry as many pennies as possible, and then they float it in the water and they drop penny after penny after penny. And me, being the smart engineer that I was, made a boat by simply folding up the 4 corners, and it was just a flat. It was still square, but it looked like a pan, basically. I made a pan to hold as many pennies as possible. Everybody else was very adamant about making their boats look like boats, as in like the sailboat type of boat, the speedboat type of boat, the very, what's that word I'm looking for? The half dome, pretty much like putting like a dome or whatever on the upside down. And of course, all theirs ended up capsizing or not holding that many, whereas mine ended up holding like the maximum amount of pennies because I essentially made a barge. So I don't know how much funny that is. That's the end of the story. I was last to go. I named it. That's the funny part. Now I remember. I named it. I was very big into this, but I was very big into the Titanic at the time. So I named it the Titanic, and everybody was joking that it was going to sink right away because it's the Titanic. But no. KurtJMac won. KurtJMac won. 3rd grade KurtJMac showed all the other 3rd graders that he had some brains in that giant skull of his that couldn't wear baseball caps. Oh, man. And yeah, I essentially made a barge, and it worked, and I won. And I did not get a job offer from GE or Shell or whoever that was. But yeah, I think it was because, for whatever reason, I was getting all those scholastic books about Robert Ballard and his finding the Titanic, and then finding the Isis was some old Greek boat he found, and then finding the Bismarck. I was really obsessed with that stuff for some reason. I don't know why or where that came from, but yeah, I was very interested in that. So yeah, I remember that. That's like that's one of the good memories where I'm like, I win. there wasn't much winning for KurtJMac growing up as a kid. I did not win in the gym or anything like that. So or the sports. Or even too much with the maths or the questions and the tests and things, but yeah, that's a story from elementary school. I don't know that it was a funny one. I'm sorry. I'll have to go back and work on. My stand-up material for that. Did you Did you bring a lunchbox or did you get hot lunch? What was on the lunchbox? Ooh, look at this place. Sorry, distractions. I don't, it was mostly, I mostly brought my lunch. My mom mostly gave me my lunch for quite a while, actually, and I even continued to bring my lunch through middle school, and high school. I never did, we had hot lunch. Oh, wow, look at this. It's speaking of arches, woo, speaking of skeletons, we got 1 arch, 2 arches. See, it's elementary school. 3, ha, ha, ha. Oh, that's just barely an arch. Neat. Garden of the Arches. Garden of the Art and Arch and Art and Garches? No. Okay, that's not working. These words are not mushing together as much as I anticipated. Neat. A neat little area. Yeah, I really never, on a regular basis or ever did the hot lunches or the cafeteria lunches. There was like hot lunch, hot lunch, is that what it's called? Yeah, hot lunch days, like the first Friday of the month or something like that. That I think was almost mandatory or whatever. I can't remember what specifically was in them. But yeah, I mostly always brought my lunch, and then through middle school was the first school that actually had a kitchen air quotes, that a lot of people would use, but I never used it. The one time I did, because I forgot my lunch, I got a hamburger, and it was like 90% soy, the burger patty. Ugh. And I'm like, I will not be getting these ever again. I will not forget to bring my lunch, or if I do, I will just not eat lunch. And I never throughout the 4 years of high school. That's right, I finished high school in 4 years. Actually 3.5. Oh, that Barge building really paid off. I never once stepped foot. It was like a little back hallway area. I never once stepped foot in the high school food line, I guess you could call it. Never once paid for lunch. It was all gross stuff, and I always just brought my lunch. I was about to say, and I'm better for it. I have no idea if I'm better for it or not. But yeah, never even did that in high school ever. College, on the other hand, boy howdy did I ever. And boy howdy did I bring some extra weight home after the freshman year. That's true. That's true indeed. Actually, that would have been my junior year. Actually, throughout the entire college, I've seen pictures of myself after college with family or whatever, and I'm like, heck, I was a monster. What? I was a beast. Where did all that come from, and where did it go? Cottonado. But yeah, never. And it was mostly paper bags. Paper bags were my lunchbox of choice. Very environmental. I never actually had like I had maybe one of those insulated, reusable lunch bags eventually, but never had like not that I remember anyway. The specific with He-Man or anything on it. Star Wars lunchbox or anything. I never had that. Bing bong bing. So yeah, that's my grade school experience in a nutshell. What else? There's another question here. Let's go to sleep, and then we'll answer this secondary question here from Doc Gratis, Lizzie Busy Bee, and M Star. In the morning. And awakeness. And a continuing onness. Possibly in a boat. We all know your space travel desires, but would you be interested in suborbital flight? Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin? So far, space yes, deep ocean no. I'm not sure what that's referencing. Is that the tally? Did somebody ask? Oh, yeah, I think a long time ago, maybe that was you guys, asked if I would be similarly interested in, like, visiting the bottom of the ocean. Visiting the Titanic with Robert Ballard. I mean, that would be interesting or whatever, but it's certainly not, if I had the choice between the two, space or bottom of the ocean. I would obviously choose space. And similarly, knowing 99.99999 repeating to infinity possibility that I will never, ever, ever in my lifetime go into space. If I were to be offered suborbital flight, if that was the closest I could get, obviously, then by all means, yes, I would definitely be on board for that. Even early on, just as, hey, why not? Adventure and whatnot. Sure, it's not gonna feel much weightlessness, and sure, you're not gonna be up there orbiting, or even to be able to see the whole blue marble or anything. But it's something. It's something. So yeah, I definitely would. And there's certainly, obviously, it's hard to say if there's any scientific or even. I mean, there is some technological advancement thanks to those programs, but not in the grand scheme of things as the way, as someone who is a fan of NASA, human space flight, the solar system exploration, space flight, not on the same level. But yeah, I wouldn't scoff at I wouldn't scoff at that. That's for sure. So yeah. And then Doc Gratis asks, can you believe that you have fans younger than Flob itself? Flob is over. This is my first YouTube video that went up. Let's Play YouTube video that went up was Far Lands or Bust. This world, this Minecraft world, of which I've yet to even die in, was the Far Lands or Bust world. In March 2011 is over 5.5-ish years, if I'm doing the math right. Almost. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. that's a little bit wacky. let's not think about that too much. But yeah, that's very cool, and I very much appreciate it. I'll be keeping it up. I'll be keeping it up, and who knows? Maybe these same people will be graduating high school whilst I'm still continuing on to these far lands. Wow. Yeah, overwhelming. Existential panic attack. So yeah, thank you very much, Doc Gratis. And Child's Play Charity, of course, once again, thank you very much for your very generous... Your Doc gratuitousness of generosity. Hey, no, that didn't work. To Child's Play Charity and support for Far Lands or Bust. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Another, and this was brought up in my last live stream on Twitch, another very generous donation came via Fajitas Command, who had a request that I'm not going to fulfill today. I'm going to ask for input on this request. Requested that I do another spoken word rendition of a pop song of my choice. Any Taylor Swift song is appreciated. This also coming on the heels that I did the No Scrubs. Somebody, it might have been Fajitas, wanted me to sing No Scrubs, but I said, no, I'll do you one better, and I will say the lyrics to No Scrubs. So this one's a little bit too open-ended. I don't listen to pop music, so I don't know what to choose. I don't know what the popular music is anymore. I used to know what was in, but now they changed what was in. And I don't know any Taylor Swift songs. I don't know that I'd be able to recognize them on the radio if they came on. I don't listen to the radio. So I'm looking for input from you guys. Perhaps Fajitas wants to leave a comment or whatever with a specific request, and then perhaps then I can fulfill that. But I certainly don't want to. This has been in the notepad for a few months now. I don't want to make it feel like I'm ignoring your very generous donation to Child's Play Charity. But this is a little bit more of a unique request. So perhaps in the next episode, if we get a good unanimous, not unanimous obviously, but if I see a trend towards a particular musical number to speak, then I'll go with that one. Jinglestog asked, as a kid, or still now as an adult, did you ever have a favorite jet fighter? Like the F-14 Tomcat, the F-4 Phantom, the F-22 Raptor? Well, the F-22 Raptor was not around when I was a kid. But yeah, my favorite when I was very much into the Air Force and the jets and the planes was definitely the F-117 Stealth Fighter, or Nighthawk, as it was referred to. Mostly because it looked pretty cool. It was this matte black, pointy Darth Vader helmet looking jet. It wasn't a fighter jet because it was more of just a bomber, obviously. But yeah, that was really cool. I made at least 3 or 4 models of it. It had books on it and even probably VHS videos about it, because it was about the time I was starting in that interest in elementary school in the early 90s, and middle school even in the 90s, when they were first used in the Gulf War, and they were still secret to that point, from the skunk works at Lockheed Martin. And yeah, I thought they were just really cool. There was even, there was a Nintendo. There was a Nintendo NES, original Nintendo Entertainment System video game called I think it was called F-117 Nighthawk or Stealth Fighter, which was almost like a legit flight simulator. It was much better than the Top Gun game. Good gravy, that Top Gun game. The worst. The worst ever. You do so well in a mission, but then you have to land back on the ship, and good luck with that. Nobody ever could ever do that. But yeah, this F-117 Nighthawk game, I remember, it was cockpit view. I remember I had I had to use like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a compass, like a legit compass in the real world, because you had to navigate to your mission objectives, and you could only do so via the degrees heading on your instruments. And either I didn't interpret it right, or maybe I was missing some sort of easy shortcut or waypoint. But I would always be doing the calculations. Okay, I'm heading this way, but I have to be over this way, so I got to turn left 13 degrees or whatever. You know, it was really interesting and fun, and it was. I mean, it was like almost a legitimate flight simulator that I was playing, it seemed. And it was in my favorite airplane, so why not? But yeah, definitely the F-117. Ooh, hello. I did for, I suppose, aesthetic purposes. I did like the F-2 Falcon, or Phantom Falcon, and that's the F-4, not the F-2. What's the F-2? I don't know what the F-2 is. The F-4 Phantom was just kind of like a cool, like the muscle car of fighter jets. Obviously mostly used back in the earlier the 70s and stuff in Vietnam or whatever. But yeah, definitely the F-117, even though it wasn't a fighter jet, and it was as a plane not too great, both aerodynamically and performance-wise. It wasn't the fastest at anything. It was just completely invisible to radar. But yeah, that's that answer. What's the really big bomber that has swept wings? I forgot what that one is. Is that the B? Is that the B-2? That one's just like really cool looking. That's just a really unique, cool design, is it not? I might be thinking of something different, but yeah, it's like a big four-engined bomber that has swept wings, like the Tomcat, but it's craziness, madness, I say. So yeah, that's a very appropriate question. Somebody was paying attention to my earlier history of interest in the Air Force and Air Force planes and things like that. Ooh, look at this. This might work. You know what we can do? Instead of digging into a hidey hole, we can build up the walls of a hidey hole, why don't we? Oh, actually, we might need to shut the back door. This seems like it's a little bit dangerous. Yellow. Ooh. Ooh, okay. We're not. No, Wolfie. No. We're not playing that game. No. Up. Coming out. Yep. And stay there. Whoop. Yep. Stay there. All right. I've got to put some insulation in. There we go. All right. That's fine, I guess. Oh, God, I heard a footstep. I thought there was something nasty sneaking up on me. Neat. Don't get to do that often. Whoop. Also, we got a little bit of a skylight here. Yoink. Awesome. All right, let's block this off. I guess Wolfie is staying with us this time, so we should probably light things up a little bit better. And yeah, thank you everybody for these donations. Every single one is amazing and much appreciated. Keep doing so at farlandsorbust.com. I'm gonna scooch Wolfie over a little bit so I have some room to work. I need to construct my IKEA bed here. So farlandsorbust.com. Keep donating. Also check out my Twitch channel. I've been slowly ramping up the Twitch streams a little bit more. And like I said, I will eventually be playing No Man's Sky there whenever that does occur. And this video, like I said, is coming up on Saturday. Actually, before you check out my Twitch channel, check out the Mindcrack LP Twitch channel, which right now, probably as this video came up, is doing a 24-hour stream. in which trying to raise funds for Mindcrack in order to be able to send the vast majority of Mindcrackers to Minecon, which is coming up in a little bit over a month, I believe, in Anaheim, California. We do need some of the fundage for that, so we are holding one of our marathon variety live streams at Mindcrack LP on Twitch. I will be participating in various segments in there and might even be taking over the stream for a little bit at some point. So check that out, and if you can help out with that, then that's great. If not, then at least enjoy the stream, enjoy the entertainment, and I hope to see you there. And thank you very much for seeing me here in Far Lands of Us. It's much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Garden of the Ard and Arch and Arden. Garches? No. Okay, that's not working.